Hi everybody, Martyn the Flicking Feathers again today. I'm tying a slider for bass, foam slider, dead easy. It's basically a big sneaky Pete, which is a great fly. Now as always, we'll put a materials list in the description, along with a link to the Patreon page for anyone that wants to support the channel. Get access to the online tying classes, as well as entering the giveaways for the flies tied in the channel. Alternatively, you can like the video, share the video, watch it all the way to the end. All of that helps the channel to grow. So I've got my hook and my vise. This is the Full and Mill streamer stripper, right? It's a stinger hook, basically. It's quite similar to the B10S, a bit longer spear, and it's Teflon coated. I've been using it, I quite like it. And this is a size 1 I'm tying. Obviously you can adjust the size to suit. This, for where I am, this is quite a big top water fly for the largemouth bass. A lot of the fish here are very heavily pressured, so we tend to fish a wee bit smaller, and that works quite well. I've run on some, this is Danville's flat wax nylon, and white. The colour doesn't really matter. And I'm going to tie in a weed guard now. Usually if I was tying a deer hair bug, I would stop the waste piece of this monofilament in line, roughly in line with the point of the hook, but because I want the surface area and I want this to be sort of vertical rather than perfectly round, for gluing the popper head, I've just run it the length of the shank, although I've left myself space obviously. And then I'm coming round, come round the bend, not too far, leave space so that there's a bit of room for that weed guard to move when a fish eats, but not so far away that it's swinging about and no protecting the hook point from the weeds in it. So I'm going to go up and down a couple of times. And then I'm going to take some brushable super glue. Right, I mean this is a freshwater fly, so the super glue's fine. Right, super glue isn't, cyanide isn't salt waterproof, but freshwater, it seems to be okay. And I'm just going to run over it one more time, just to sort of pick up any of that excess. I'll just rub that away, and you just snap your fingers and it won't stick to you, or they won't stick together. And then to make this really tough, before that's fully dry, but a head cement, just nail polish. The nail polish and the super glue together makes for a really, really strong bond. So I'm just going to check my head size, and basically what I like to do, I want to leave myself enough space for to tie my weed guard at the front, and I'm going to come in and just put a wee black band coming to the back edge of the head, right? So I know that the back end of that's the back edge of the head, and the front side is like the inside of what would be the cup. The head I'm using, this is a Wapsi, it's just the perfect popper. Size them to suit. You can put a bigger head in this hook if you want a bit more disturbance. What I have done is I've used my cautery tool and I've melted sockets for the eyes so the eyes don't fall off, and I've just coloured it up with markers. So the first thing is the sort of undercolour. I'm using a wee bit of white Marabou, just a pinch here, just to sort of get that sort of frog belly. Don't need a lot. So I've just got a pinch, and I only want it to be like I don't want a big long tail in this, so like just a bit of shank line, maybe a shade more, but no much. And I'm going to tie this in. Coming back sort of from a point maybe halfway along the spear. Then the back colour, I've got this soft Hackle and Chickaboo patch, nice grizzly olive. So I'm just going to pick a couple of, I mean the Chickaboo's small obviously, so you'll need maybe a couple of them. You can of course just use like an olive, like a Marabou blood or something, just a pinch of your ordinary olive Marabou. I'm doing it like this because I like the look of it. Nothing else, right? The fish probably don't care at all. Kind of struggling here for. I've got a lot of Hackle, but I've used up most of the Chickaboo in this. There we go, there's a nice one. I think. I'm just going to pinch the centre out of that so that the bunch is nice. That's better. I know. Lay these on top of each other, and I'm not that fussed about them being super neat, right? I can, if I really feel I need to, I can come in and sort of pinch it back, set that on top, I will just nip that back a wee bit. Just to kind of get a nice end. Refile the plume there, just take that away. No, I don't want that, that's kind of creeping, so we'll just fix it before we go any further. You know, you want the top colour to be on top, the belly colour to be on the belly, that's better. So I've put on my first set of legs, so I'm going to take two, and this is just barred round rubber. You can use whatever you like. I mean, I've got one here, black and white, you know, tying them different colours. I've just put all white legs on this. It's entirely up to you. If you want something a bit more contrasty, that's fine too. So I'm just going to, I've put two legs, two strands, I'm just going to separate them. I'm going to offer them in long. Just come back. I'm not putting a ton of pressure, I just want to make sure that they're sitting where I want them before I sort of lock that in. Then I'll fold the ends back. Again, get them on the sides. Now the length, it's up to you. I like to have one pair, so a long and a short on each side. I like one set just slightly longer than the Marabou tail, and another one say 10-12mm, 1/2 inch longer again, so that when that lies on the water, the legs, because they're separate lengths, so they come out, although they're tied at the same spot, they spread. Right, this one, the shorter legs get like more rigidity because it's no holding the same weight of rubber, so they sit splayed and differently at rest. Now the collar, I'm just going to use the same soft hackle patch. We've got a nice big feather, and I maybe need to use two. I want something that's got plenty of soft Marabou fluff on it. Just size this. Looks okay. I'm going to tie it in by the tip, but first I'm going to get a bit of cement on all this. Tail here, right, that's just a wee bit of ordinary head cement just to sort of add a bit of durability. And I'll come in, tie this off. Right, I don't mind if my thread goes over that black band, I can still see it. And I know where it is anyway now because I've got my bump from the tail material. Catch that in. And I do need another feather here. Right, because you can still, the front edge is there, right, so I want the feather to basically stop there so that it sits inside the cup and there's no gap. I'll use a slightly bigger feather this time. This wee one will kind of support the shorter fibres, will support the longer fibres. You can see this feather, it's got quite a long stem and plenty of the Marabou type fluff. Right, the bottom fluff there, that's good stuff, that's all movement. You see they're getting into the longer fibres just as I'm coming into the black band. Still got space, so I'll just put that in, get that extra wrap. I'll trim this long, I'll trim the waist piece basically the length of where that popper body is going to go. Tie it in. Again, this is giving me more surface to glue to. I'm just looking at this from above because I want this to be nice and perpendicular to the shank. I don't want one side sort of pushing forward. I'll just, before we do it, I'll have a dry check with my popper head. Put that on. That looks pretty good, right? That's going to seamlessly connect to the body. I'm just going to moisten this to sort of keep it out of the way. Quite happy the whip finish. You don't need to be fussy with that, not at all. So, gel super glue. Use the gel type, it'll give you a wee minute to work. And don't be shy with it. We open this up nice and wide. And using the gel glue, it gives you a bit of time to position your head. Like that. Squeeze. It takes a moment to set, so I always just got these wee sort of low tension laundry pegs. Squeeze it, I'll just wipe the excess away from the bottom. Just like that. Let that set up. Right, so once that's set up, right, I've taken I've obviously taken the close peg off, the clothespin. I'm just making sure there's no any escapee glue at the front. And it'll take a couple of seconds when you take it off for the head. The head will come back to its shape, it's fine. Right. And you've still got plenty of buoyancy, you don't need to worry, you've no damage. Now, the eyes, I'm using the doll eyes with the stem. These are 4.5mm yellow pearl. Right. And what I do, basically, cut the stems off. And so I said earlier, I use my cautery tool, right, with the threads up, and I'm just going to make sure that I've got it deep enough. I don't think it's very deep on your side. Just melt a wee bit. My side I think is fine. Why not? I'll just get another just to make sure. Sometimes you kind of deform the hole when you're sticking it on anyway. And then I'll take a 4.5mm drill bit and give that a wee press in. Right. And that basically gives the socket for the 4.5mm eye. You don't need to do that. I just like the way the eyes look, right? The eye sits in the socket and it's far less likely to be pulled off because there's nothing can get under it. So I'm not going to use super glue to attach my eyes, I'm going to use goop. Goop is far and away a better choice for eyes. Now I'm going to coat this anyway, but goop is still, like, if you're not coating it, you should still use goop. If you're coating it, you should use goop. Goop is just a fantastic glue for attaching your eyes. It's harder to work with than super glue, it's a bit messier, right? You need to sort of learn to get it out of the tub, out of the tube neatly, but the stick is just so much stronger. And you just set the eye into its wee crevice, and it can be a bit of a snug fit at times, but that's fine. Might look at it from below, look at it from the front. Sometimes one of them doesn't want to sort of go in the same, but you get it and you get it in and it'll go where you want it. Just push, and you can be quite firm, right? Don't need to feel that you need to be too careful once it's in. Now, I've got a wee bit of goop on the surface of this. That's not a problem, right? You let it dry and you can sort of scrape it off. And like, it'll actually kind of, because you've been handling it, it'll nearly dry right away, so you've just been able to peel it away. Just like when you were at school, you would just peel the glue off your fingers. I don't know if they still do that. So the front legs is the last thing to add before I coat the head. And this foam head, these leg pullers good, right? I don't use these for deer hair bugs, but for a foam head it's ideal. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in to the top third of the eye at an angle. Push through. Just support the head and the hook, right? See how you're sitting. If you're not happy, you can go back, right? That will close up and you'll never see it. I want that back end a bit lower. There we go. If you're really worried, right, like, I'll just come in and put the black dot. It was coming out a black dot, so I've just come in and replaced it. I've just covered up the bit, but you really would never see it. So I'll get this first leg on. Just put it in. Put it back. There we go. Pull it in. I'm not too fussed about the leg length or anything as yet. And then find my height, find my place. And I'll just copy that same angle. Fine. Put it through. And then you get like this, right? Now the legs at this stage they're too floppy, right? So basically what I do is I pull the back leg in until the front leg is more or less where I want it to be. You know, like, rather than trimming twice, I'll just put that in and then trim them so they're the same length. And I've got this, right? So now I'm going to coat it. And the coating, the stuff I'm using for the coating, now I've used different things over the years. Soft head and all that, UV resin, epoxy. Epoxy's got it's the most durable, but it yellows. The UV resin comes off when a fish compresses it. Even the flexible resin, it's not flexible enough and it's not bonded. I used to use Loon soft head. That was alright, but the flies, especially if like you had used them a couple of times and you stuck them in your box in October, you know, when the top water's kind of coming to an end, depending where you live, you could put it back out in the spring and the heads be stuck together and it would like tear off bits of one and all that. So what I use now is liquid fusion that I have thinned, right? So it's just this liquid fusion and I've thinned it probably about 15% water. Like, you just thin it. I put it in a wee brush bottle, add water until it gets to the consistency that I like, and this is excellent. It's more or less self-leveling. I do put it on the drying wheel. Takes a couple of hours to sort of set up, but it shrinks and it sticks to your popper head, right? It bonds to the popper head, but once it's set up, it won't stick to anything else, right? And you get a nice hard urethane, or flexible, tough urethane finish, not really hard. If you want, you can give it an extra coat after the first one, but you don't really need to. And that means your legs are very secure, your eyes are secure, the colour won't come off. Right, and I just come right up to the back end of the back edge of the popper head. I don't worry about trying to get around the lip. As I say, this is a glue, right? It's no just sitting on the top like resin would be. It's actually got to bond to this, so you don't need to worry about water getting under and lifting it off. The fly that was in the vise at the start, that had already been coated. Right, so you'll see it looks like this is all shiny, right? Like I've put, like you would get like a hard, thick resin coating, but it will shrink down. Just make sure that you're fully right up to the edge. And that's no bad at that. So then this goes in the drying wheel. Just set it aside, it'll be fine for 5 minutes. And I'll grab the other one and just finish the weed guard. Just got to take the same white thread, start it up, trim it away, and I'll feed my weed guard through, so I set roughly the length. I'll just get a pinch, right, so that I can see where it is. I'm going to take my pliers, I'm going to just crush that area where I sort of crimped it on the hook eye. Just crush it flat so that it lies a bit better, and then I'll draw this up through it again. Take a wrap to hold it, and then I'll set my length. Now I want it quite close, right, at like 1/8 at the absolute most, right, 3mm. Get it in close, right. Big loops, you're never going to hook a fish, right. I always say, like, the weed guard, the problem with weed guards is no weed guards, it's poorly fitted weed guard. So my camera just cut out, I don't know when, but as I say, right, so I've got that, and I've only got 3mm, 1/8 of an inch there. I've folded it back and tied over it. Now, whip finish, one's enough. Drop my scissors into my drawer. Take that away. Now, before I seal this, I'm just going to use this chart pack marker, which is the same marker as I used on the head. Just hit that. And I don't know if it was on the video because the camera stopped, but like the weed guard, right, it's in. That barely needs to move to get out the way. It's enough to support the weight of the fly coming over grass or over a stick, but it's really close to the hook point. And that's how you know, that's how you should be fitting your weed guards, right? Like, don't have big loops. Folk that say, I always think when people say weed guards are a bad idea or weed guards don't work, they cost you fish, it's probably a poorly fitted weed guard that's really the problem. Right, so I'm just sealing that as well with the same liquid fusion. I'll blob it up onto the eyes. And I've got a big lump there, so I'll just sort of spread it back, why not? There's no harm. And that shrinks again. when it dries, and you've got this lovely tough wee fly. This will catch hunters of fish before it falls to bits. Great wee pattern for your warm water fishing. Panfish will come up and have a go at it. They might not get the hook in them, but largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, well worth tying these and using them. So hope that was useful, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to give me a thumbs up below, and I'll see you for another one. Tight lines guys, bye.